Well, good morning once again. I'm hoping and believe that actually you had a good music interlude. Now, of course, the thought is that this is meant to put you into the mood of the weekend. Now, also believing that this weekend in particular is going to be a bit longer than the normal one. Because guess what? By 24th, as the promise is still standing, we haven't accumulated at least 50% of cases. So the expectation is that everything will be up in gear, up and running. And of course, we won't be having to rush home by 7. You won't be having to wait a bit before you leave home. Like, a bit of restrictions will not be there. But before we even get into that discussion, I want to remind all our viewers, all the people who listen to us and the Good Morning Uganda big family out there, did you get your vaccination? As the economy reopens, do not forget that the risks also will be high to contract COVID-19. Now, of course, we do ask you to get vaccinated. Lots of vaccinations are available at all government facilities. And of course, for some of you who are in townships, you can also get them at all government affiliated. And even now, private institutions have these vaccinations. Do remember, vaccination is definitely free now. Do be able to get vaccinated when it is still free. Today, Friday, is another big bang. And guess what? I have all my colleagues in the house, and we'll start with Philo. I don't know, how many languages do you speak, Philo? I don't know why you're laughing, but I'll save you that. How many languages do you speak, Philo?
So I fluently actually speak 3 languages. Then the others I can try. Yes.
And that will be?
English, Uganda, Runyankole. Then the others, I'm really trying to be a good student.
Like which one and which one?
French. I don't want to show off, but Felix, if we're going to get on that panel, trust me, I know I'll beat you to it.
How about we get to it right now? Let's get to it.
Felix, I know you really want a lot of drama on a Friday, but,
yeah, but
I really want to get to that
so
right now.
What else are you trying to learn?
I'm trying to learn Spanish as well.
For what?
My friend, you'll see the benefits in the long run.
The things girls do for Spanish. But anyway, how are you? How is your Friday?
So my Friday is great. I'm really excited. You know how you always have the last days in school towards going back home? I feel like this is the Chidomo of lockdown.
I tell you,
I feel like this is the Chidomo. I'm really excited, and I'm hoping and praying nothing changes. And you know, like about what you said earlier on, I pray that everybody actually heeds to the vaccination thing. You go and get yourself vaccinated, because right now, vaccination is like our cut to heaven.
I tell you.
Yes.
So guys, once again, get vaccinated and believe and trust that on the other side, Uncle Bob and I don't know if that makes Mollen Auntie Mollen, but okay. But we'll keep it to that. So Robert, good morning, my brother.
A lovely morning to you, Felix.
How are you?
Very, very.
Why are you swinging your hands, Robert?
There's so much energy I'm having.
For what?
Oh,
hey.
Because this is the final Friday.
Yeah.
It is the last Friday after 2 years.
All right.
When the entertainment sector has been on a lockdown. Now it is our Chiromo. We are celebrating because away from just the fun, we look at people who've been earning a living in this sector.
So Robert, are you part of the entertainment sector?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I just grace.
But okay.
I'm part of that, yes.
And I know one person who is a beneficiary directly or indirectly. Proximity is key in this this sector. And give me the honors to to say good morning. I don't know if she's a chiara or I don't know. She'll tell me. I tell you, Mollen. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Tu ça va?
Ah, ça va, merci. Tu fais quoi?
Omani. Let me tell you a story before even I greet Mollen. My late grandfather.
Now he's telling
used to
a
tell
story.
us when we speak English as young kids, you'd come trying to show him that you know English.
Yeah.
So Mollen, I'll get the refer.
I knew you'd
But
do
anyway,
it that.
good morning, Mollen. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm feeling okay, and I'm also adding
you
to...
look okay. On
Yeah,
top of just
thank you. So I'm just adding on the vibe. You guys, this Friday is just another vibe. Yeah, because now you think about the next Friday might not be the same. We don't have to have that kind of Friday again. So I'm like, yeah. This is the best Friday to just be alive, you guys.
So what are you anticipating to do?
Next Friday?
This Friday.
Oh, this Friday? No, it's still like a normal Friday. That's my point. But with hope, you're anticipating for the next Friday. You're like, I can't believe this is the last Friday. Like, you know how the Chilomo that Robert was referring to, how that last day of, school, you're just excited because it's the last day. So the excitement is, it's the last Friday we're doing this. Being on lockdown, we can't go anywhere to whatever time we want. But come next Friday.
Well, clearly that's what is on the mind of many Ugandans. They just can't wait for that time when they are free to do everything they have been loving to do throughout lockdown. Tell you what, Ugandans are happy people, and if you've noticed, they like to have good times, they like to travel, they like to hang out, they like to dance, sing. There are people who are joyous unless things don't turn out for them, even when they are broke. That's why it's always hard to say that Ugandans are broke people unless you don't move at night. Because trust me,
I've had a notion of how people say you will never trust Ugandans when they tell you that we are all broke. You cannot generalize everybody. You'll be surprised.
I tell you.
You'll actually realize you're the only one in that category. So they're so unreliable.
Whatever, but in actual
and they're posting
sense,
in a comfort of a very nice hotel.
And before you know it, they're actually moving around. They're posting these posts from somewhere, having fun. So I don't trust Ugandans when it comes to, especially January. They're saying it's January, but it's not January for them.
But also,
January online.
When it comes to happening life, I think Ugandans have various techniques. There was this person I always moved into this happening place, and you find that this guy all the time has bottles on a number of them, and I kept asking, how does this guy make it? Until I was told that, man, that guy has a book around here, so he takes the account at the end of the month, he pays.
But it's more or less the same thing, as long as he pays.
Wow. Then others, colleagues. So if this time he comes gives everybody, the next time, so there is that. So you find this guy would even go to a bar without a penny, and comes back late. And if you met him there, he's having expensive drinks. So they have always, for the ladies, one has a guy who is taking the rest, and kwa ujumula, the other feed on the others.
You talk with a lot of experience, Uncle Bob. Have you done that before?
Is there something you want to tell us?
I know.
I feel like there is an underlying story.
Please tell us. This is a lot of experience for you to have known from the guy, the apparent guy that you're putting in quotes right now. What if you're the guy?
This is reality, You take a Mollen out, then there's another. And we are going out, you're going out. On whose bill? Very interesting life.
You're not telling us something.
But
let Friday come.
One of the mistakes you don't make with hardcore men, when they tell you to come out for the date, don't carry anyone. Trust me. Don't carry anyone. And girls, they ask you to go out with somebody, carry some money with you. I've seen embarrassment in this city. I tell you, guy will eat, and then they'll say, let me go to the toilet, and
disappear.
Never come back. You've been there trying to think that you're eating on the nigger, and you asking almost for everything, until the guy says, Kangendeko neyambeko, and the guy never comes. I've seen that. And the chick was there saying, but the one, Aja.
But where are those kind of guys?
You get one. Felix, before you get into shame, there's another art of managing that situation.
In my
there's an art of managing that situation. If you're taking Mollen out, and Mollen comes with 2 or 3, you must have a backup. You must have these guys that are ever ready to give assistance. So if there are 3, one takes, you must have a backup team.
Robert, I'm not going into that discussion. Clearly, Robert has so many ways around.
From a point of
no, Robert, that's another concept again. That's a whole different concept that I don't even agree with.
Well, agree or not, ready or not, tell me 24th is here. And how ready are you? Now we'll be picking up on that discussion, trying to understand how ready is everybody entirely in your own respective way, in your own respective work, in your own respective discipline, how ready are you come 24th, that is next week, as the reopening comes up? Now, of course, something to keep in mind, or something to take home, is definitely preparedness of every other thing, but also how ready are you to protect yourself, your family, your community, your workmates, your places of worship, your music, I mean everywhere. How ready are you to protect? Because the reopening also certainly means that the risks are going to be high. Now, that's a discussion we'll be having, and me and my colleagues, of course, are later on. But for now, we want to give you a couple of stories that some of the things that did happen. That is amidst, of course, since last night, and we'll be looking at stories locally and those that did happen internationally. And we'll be looking at the local stories first with Robert and Mollen.
And we'll begin with the composition of the United Nations Security Council, where African nations are requesting for a permanent seat. Uganda hosted the 9th ministerial level meeting of African Union Committee on the reforms of the United Nations Security Council, composed of dignitaries from 10 African countries that included Senegal, Uganda, Algeria, Kenya, Zambia, Sierra Leone, Congo, Libya, Namibia, and Equatorial Guinea. The meeting was hosted by President Yoweri Museveni of Uganda at Speak Resort, Nyonyintono. His Excellency, while addressing excellencies, President Museveni called for reforms on the composition of the United Nations Security Council for Africa to have a permanent seat.
Well, in other news, we look at borders now. The government has handed a 6-month grace period to border operators in Kampala Metropolitan to reorganize the industry, or else risk losing out part of their operation fields. Now, this was part of the outcomes of the Thursday engagement by a section of border leaders with the Ministers of Security, Major General retired Jim Muhwezi, Transport and Works Minister General Katumba Wamala, and for Kampala Affairs, Misa Kabanda. Now, the closed meeting held at the Transport Ministry was out of bounds to the media fraternity. Now, although there was no public communication regarding the intended border stakeholders meeting with government officials, the closed-door engagement did happen Thursday. Now, the meeting, which was held at the office of the Minister of Transport and Works in Kampala, was not for the invited leaders, a move which ignited a section of border operators as security blocked them. Now, later on, as we interacted with a section of leaders who attended the engagement, according to these border leaders, the engagement resolved that there will be no border operators allowed to conduct business in Kampala without a uniform identification. Now, organizing the Central Business District, especially in line with the free border zone, was also top on the agenda. Now, it was at the end resolved that a grace period of 6 months should be accorded to these riders and their leaders to draw a comprehensive way forward which will enable a smart city.
Talking of a smart city, still regarding markets in Kampala, traders operating in government-owned markets in Kampala stormed Kampala Capital City Authority headquarters, demanding for the authority's executive director's acknowledgement of the president's directive that stopped all the management from running markets over scandals. Last year, President Museveni stopped all leaders in all state-owned markets from managing them over dubious and exploitative actions, or that included over-taxation, among others. The foundation therefore led to these traders calling upon KCCA to ensure that this directive takes place. Yesterday morning, workers in markets of Owino, Wandegeya, Nakasero invaded headquarters of Kampala Capital City Authority, demanding for the executive director to honor this directive because the interim committee's term expires on 2nd of February. The aggrieved traders said they are all ready to manage their own market after waiting for so long. They pinned the interim management for mistreating them and torturing them over time. They dare to throw out these interim leaders from their markets should the set date of 2nd February elapse. They accused the authorities. They accessed the authority's main building to meet the executive director Dorothy Chisaka, but were repulsed by security amid these protests as they vowed not to leave unless Chisaka talked to them.
Well, more on that, we'll look at Uganda Airlines. Now, Uganda Airlines is currently undergoing evaluation processes by the United Kingdom Civil Aviation and European Union Safety Agency so as to operate in the UK and Europe. Now, this process, once complete, will pave way for the launch of the commercial operations to London this year. But as our reporter reports, the airline is looking at the route expansion with trepidation in the face of the mutating COVID-19 virus. Uganda Airlines has laid out key focus areas for 2022, including focusing on customer retention systems, network expansions, and growing cargo operations. The airline, with a fleet of 4 CRJ 900 jetliners and 2 Airbus A330s serving 11 destinations. Now, according to the figures released by the airline, Uganda Airlines transported 98,760 passengers in the first half of 2021-2022 and financial year. Also, 14,363 were on Airbus and 84,397 on CRJ 900. Now, the airline says that it earned $13.3 million in revenue from these operations, and also the acting CEO, Jennifer Bamuturachi, highlighted that the national carrier has steered steadily in the turbulent skies, and they will look at harnessing gains reaching at so far. Now, to cut on costs, the airline also plans to manage its ground handling and aircraft maintenance services. Now, for the network expansion, these are plans of rolling out. There are plans of rolling out direct flights to the European cities, West Africa, and the Middle East, and also to London. Now, the London route has stalled due to the evaluation process, which changed post-Brexit. Now, Uganda Airlines also says that they will continue seeking commercial alliances and partnership with global airlines.
After a while, we'll be looking at China and Russia have delayed the U.S. effort to the United Nations to impose sanctions on the 5 North Koreans responsible for recent missile launches in Pyongyang. Diplomats did come out also to say that the move by Beijing and Moscow came before the closed-door UN Security Council meeting on North Korea on Thursday, and the second 2 weeks after the Pyongyang fired tactical guided missile this week. Now, China and Russia, however, placed a hold on the United States proposal on Thursday, which puts it in limbo. China told the Council and colleagues it needed more time to study the sanctions, while Russia said more evidence was needed to back the U.S. request and, of course, not to untangle with diplomacy. Now, still, U.S. charges second man in killing the Haitian President Moise. Now, United States Justice Department has announced charges against a second man in it accuses of being involved in the assassination of Haitian President Jovenel Moise last year. Now, that is Radolphe Gia, 49, a dual Haitian-Chilean citizen, was charged with a conspiracy to commit murder and kidnapping outside the U.S. The Justice Department said this on Tuesday. Now, he was also charged with providing material support resulting into death, knowing or intending that such material support would be used to prepare for a carrying out of a conspiracy to kill or kidnap in relation to Moise's killing at his residence in Fort-au-Prince. That was on July 7th, 2021. Now back to Africa. Ghana blast, where we see many feared dead after a huge explosion in Bogoso. Now, many people are feared dead after a huge explosion near the mining town in western Ghana. Police says a vehicle carrying mining explosives collided with a motorcycle near the town of Bogoso. Images shared by local media showed a large plume of black smoke rising above and destroying buildings and scattered debris as residents call for help. Police have not confirmed the number of casualties, but graphic videos showed mutilated bodies and, of course, victims. A large crater can also be seen beside the road. Now, and in an emergency notice, police said the huge explosion had occurred between Bogoso and the village of Bawidi. Now, rescue efforts underway, and many people have been told to move out of the area. Police called the nearby towns to open up their classrooms, churches, etc., to be able to accommodate the casualties of this particular surge.
about the movie Don't Look Up. Now, entertainers, while shining a light on the trend of ignoring climate change, as experts warn. Now, every disaster movie seems to open up with a scientist being ignored, and Don't Look Up is no exception. Now, in fact, people ignoring or flat out denying scientific evidence is the point. Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence play astronomers who make a literally earth-shattering discovery and then try to persuade the president to take action to save humanity. Now, it is a satire that explores how individuals, scientists, and the media, politicians respond when faced with scientific facts that are uncomfortable, threatening, and inconvenient. Now, the movie is an analogy for climate change, showing how those with power to do something about global warming willfully avoid taking action, and how those with vested interests can mislead the public. But it also reflects science denial more broadly, including what the world has been seeing with COVID-19. Now, the most important difference between the film's premise and humanity's actual looming crisis is that while individuals may be powerless against the comet, everyone can act decisively to stop fueling climate change, knowing the myth that that feeds science denial can help. Now, as researchers also say, the authors of Science Denial, Why It Happens and What to Do About It, recognize that these aspects of science denial are all too well. Now, I've watched the movie and it's still streaming on Netflix, but I can tell you one thing. There has been a lot of denial when it comes to science, but when you see how Leonardo DiCaprio and J-Lo are trying to shine light, that's how determined scientists are going, and they are being ignored. But there is hope. We don't just stop on the movie.
Mollen almost said we have been ignored. But anyway, speaking about ignoring...
I could boldly say that, actually.
Well, of course, also want to take a look at our poll question today, and definitely want to be able to engage you on this particular one, so we get your true thoughts.
Well, this morning we want to look at how prepared is the performing arts industry as plans to reopen draw closer. Now, if you realize this is the industry that has been under lockdown for quite the longest time, and we've had several people, several key players in the sector come up and plead and also put their complaints on the table, but we had His Excellency keep pushing, rather extending the time they were supposed to fully reopen. So 24th is here, and that is the most anticipated day when we have the nightlife open up, when we have this industry open up. So we want to know, do you think they are ready? And if your answer is yes, how do you think they are ready? Feel free to engage with us on Twitter. The hashtag is UBCGMU, and you can also send us your WhatsApp message on 0709 602 592. We'll be getting into your feedback and sharing your thoughts later on.
Well, of course, as we do wait for you guys to respond to that particular poll question, I probably also want to just find out something. And I was challenged a couple of days ago. I tried to look at a couple of things that have happened and what happened to us on a daily. And I was trying to think, what is that one thing that like will light up your day, even when you're in a bad mood, and you like that thing that if this happens, if someone says this or they do this, I think they would have made my day. Philo.
Well, it's not basically somebody, or okay, well, it's an individual, but I will tell you, if I'm having a bad day and I listen to some good music, trust me, the changes on my face will be very noticeable.
Good music to you?
Good music is music that really speaks to me, music that I can actually relate to.
Like John Black's music? Wow.
No offense. No offense.
You know, I love John Black. So
I love John Black, yes, but I don't really relate to his music. But
so what kind of music do you listen?
Music, yes. Certainly not John Black, but yeah.
Okay, but music. So, Uncle Bob, Robert, what is that one thing that will like light up your day, even if everything is going to the left? If somebody shows up, if they do this, it will light up your day.
Well, that's the smile of my son. Yeah.
Okay.
However messy my day is, if I get home and this guy is not yet asleep in case I've gotten in late, and he just smiles and says, "Welcome back, Daddy." Whatever it is, everything, I just forget about that.
Okay, keep smiling, Gavi. Please keep smiling. Mollen. And what is that one thing that lights up your day and you?
Now for me, it's not like particularly, something or someone, but it has always been my faith. I am this one person who will be having a bad day and then I'm like, no, but I'm not alone. Like, God knows that I'm going through this. And the thought of that just makes me, light up. I just think about the fact that God knows exactly what I'm going through. So even when I'm down, I'm just like, I have hope. I know, okay, this is not, doesn't mean anything. After all, God is aware. I know. Yeah. Like, that is it for me.
What?
For you.
For what?
What is that one thing that really lights up your day?
Me? Well, it's more or less, I love music. I think it's music for me as well. It sort of like puts me in the good vibe. Me? Oh, I listen a lot to local music, surprisingly. Absolutely, magazine,
Eddie Kenzo,
anything, no choice, as long as
no. It must be music I relate to. It can't be anything. But it also depends on the mood. Sometimes I'm low because maybe I'm thinking about a situation that has hurt me, so the kind of music to address that is different. Like there are times I am probably low because so it depends what's making me low. Sometimes I just need, like, sometimes it's really, really painful. There's a particular music I want to listen to because it relates with the pain. And
the prevailing situation.
Exactly, yeah. So it depends. It's not like it's general.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, I want to take a break, but also to remind you, now because today is Friday, it's a special Friday, we'll be having an artist on stage. She's called Kushe Yvonne. When she comes here, she's very amazing. She's done very nice music. I tell you, you will love her music. She's quite exotic, I must add. And probably Philo here will relate more than I do. And probably Mollen and Philo. But me and Robert, being country boys, old type. But she's good. She's coming out. I expect to have a bit of performances also to blend with her, try to know about her kind of music, and clearly what she's up to. But of course, also, as I said earlier, we'll be having a conversation, myself and the team, to discuss the reopening. For now, let's take a break and we will be back to get into that discussion.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
I love Uganda. I serve Uganda. I sacrifice for Uganda. I'm loyal to Uganda. I love myself.
Be patriotic. Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Uganda, Office of the President.
Enjoy convenience today with Airtel Money School Pay. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees. Select option 2, school pay. Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Beat the back-to-school hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
On the 9th of December 2021, Pope Francis appointed the Most Reverend Paul Semwogerere as the new Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, replacing the late Dr. Cyprian Kizito Lwanga. Semwogerere, aged 65, takes over the mantle as the 5th Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese. On Tuesday, the 25th of January 2022, all roads will lead to the Sacred Heart Cathedral, Lubaga, for the installation of the Archbishop-elect of Kampala Archdiocese. Under the theme that we grow into the life of Christ, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15. The Holy Mass will be telecast live on UBC TV at 10 a.m.
Hi Uganda, East Africa, Africa and the world. Welcome to the Belaisi auction market where we're selling different items through auction. You can bid for the item you desire right now. Do you see that code on your TV? Load airtime, dial that code, select your preferred item and you are in to the Belaisi auction. Now we've been telling you that we have a brand new Bajaj motorbike. What is so special about this bike?
This is the CT125 Bajaj. It is our new bike at the moment, which is taking the market by storm. It has got a gear display. It has a fuel gauge.
No more flipping, no more tilting. You know the fuel that you actually consume.
It also has an electric start and also a kick start. The seat is very comfortable, and not to mention it's also 5 gears, which makes it very economical. This very bike comes with a helmet. It comes with a warranty for 1 year and also comes with 3 labor-free services.
How much have you sold this bike to Belaisi?
At the moment, this bike has been sold to Belaisi for 4.8 million shillings.
4.8 million shillings. That is money we paid in cash. Now you can buy this bike at a price that you want. Get to your phone right now. Dial that code. Look for the Bajaj CT125. Click on it. Pay the bidding fee, which is 10,000 shillings. Now dial the same code again. This one on your screen. Go back to the Bajaj CT125. Tell us how much you want to pay for this bike. You can say, me, I'm going to buy that bike 500,000 shillings. If you are the highest bidder with your 500k, we shall call you here on UBC. You come with your 500,000, pay it in cash, drive away with your motorbike.
On the 9th of December 2021, Pope Francis appointed the Most Reverend Paul Semwogerere as the new Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, replacing the late Dr. Cyprian Kizito Lwanga. Semwogerere, aged 65, takes over the mantle as the 5th Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese. On Tuesday, the 25th of January 2022, all roads will lead to the Sacred Heart Cathedral, Lubaga, for the installation of the Archbishop-elect of Kampala Archdiocese. Under the theme that we grow into the life of Christ, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15, the Holy Mass will be telecast live on UBC TV at 10 a.m.
National Resistance Movement Liberation Day in Uganda is celebrated on the 26th of January each year. The public holiday commemorates the date in 1986 when the NRA overthrew Tito Okello's government. The event will take place under the theme celebrating the 36th NRA Victory Day, a call to duty for all compatriots to contribute towards Uganda's socio-economic transformation journey. Don't miss out on the military parade and the speech from His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni from Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on UBC TV come Wednesday, 26th January 2022.
Raising voices.
As a mother, my children depend on me to make this world a safer place for them. I'm not afraid to act when I see violence in the home and in my community. I promise to talk to my neighbors and friends about how we can nurture and protect the children.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
Patriotism is a feeling of love, devotion, and the willingness to sacrifice for one's country.
I say no to corruption because I put my country first. I choose peace over violence because I put my country first.
I love Uganda. I serve Uganda. I sacrifice for Uganda. I'm loyal to Uganda. I love myself.
Be patriotic. Uganda first. This message is brought to you by the National Secretariat for Patriotism Co Uganda, Office of the President.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again, and thank you again for being with us here on Good Morning Uganda. Now Friday, it is a special Friday edition. Now basically today we do try to loosen up a bit and of course touch some of those discussions that we don't normally touch probably earlier the week. But of course also to remind you now, Good Morning Uganda comes to you Monday to Friday, and definitely that's 6:30 to 9, and thereafter we have Good Morning Uganda Extra, where we do have my brother Jagenda Semakula Zikusoka, who also does bring into contemplation a particular topic of national importance. But before that also, we do take you through our newsreel, take you through the papers, traffic, weather, and later on, of course, we do have our Good Morning Uganda agenda where we do discuss a matter of national importance as well. But today being Friday, we do loosen up a bit, as I said earlier, to try and discuss some of the things we don't discuss every day, but also to prepare you or to put you into the weekend mood. Now weekends are been labeled those days where people are loosen up, you know, you do away with the ties, with the jackets, of course for the ladies away with the blazers and the high heels, though women carry high heels also into Friday, surprisingly. And probably and by the way, what's with the heels? I'll start with Mollen. Do women have to put on heels? I used to think it was an issue of height, but even tall women, like what comes with high heels?
I mean, high heels I must have. For every lady, I'm telling you, it's a must have. It just brings out, I want to call it a vibe. Like, there is the way you look when you're having high heels. It brings out your posture, your walking posture, you know, it's just, yeah, I'm telling you, because
your walking changes when you have high heels?
Even the way you stand, actually, the confidence that you get wearing high heels is not the same when you're wearing, like, you know,
what's the relationship between confidence and high heels?
I don't know how to explain it to you, because if you...
this way I want to ask Philo, before we get into, like, what's the relationship of high heels and...
You know, some of these things, Felix, you can only understand if you actually go through them. When a lady tells you that I am putting on high heels, I feel a certain type of way, you will actually see it projected on her face, the way she does her things. Like Mollen was saying, there is a certain level of confidence that heels add to you, and a certain kind of balance. I don't know whether the confidence comes from the balance. No, but it's not even about the height. It's not about the height. The way you move, the way you even speak, there is something about
the way
confidence.
You speak?
Yes.
No way.
It does.
No.
I am telling you.
No.
You see, when you're putting on flat shoes, there is the way you just casual, and even you're walking, it will be casual. But once you put on high heels, it comes with that confidence. Even when you're walking, you're just...
can help us, probably me in particular, understand the relationship of high heels and confidence of talking.
Body language,
you speak with your feet?
Is all encompassed in it. Let me tell you, if you actually get a specialist who can tell you a lot more about body language, they will make you understand the relationship between heels and ladies and how it actually boosts their body language.
Probably men should start putting on high heels. I don't know what.
You have also different things that boost your confidence as men.
Like?
So.
Yeah, for example, when a man is putting on a suit, I am telling you there is a different vibe that comes with someone wearing a suit. And when, like on a Friday, you can't tell me it's the same way you were on Monday.
It's very, like in terms of what I say, like I've never noticed probably.
No, the way you carry yourself in public when you're wearing a suit and how you carry yourself in public when you're wearing casuals, it's different, you have to admit.
Well, quite contemplatable, I must say. But clearly, now I know why women will put on high heels on every occasion. You are in at a barrio and someone, I'm like, what? Confidence for what? To but anyway, let's look at a poll question before we get into our topic.
Did you have to bring out that example?
And of course, our poll question is how prepared is the performing arts industry as reopening draws closer? Be able to hit our social media platforms, of course, from our Twitter, that is UBCGMU, and that's hashtag. And for you on WhatsApp, it's 0709 60 25 92. We want to focus on performing arts for our poll question. But of course, generally, me and my colleagues here will be looking at the reopening. And basically, some sectors are already up and running, like academics, transportation. They're at full operation. We have hospitals didn't close much. Restaurants, hotels have been partially open because of also they can't operate very much at night. But now the president did say that come 24th, we will be opening our economy. And probably I'll start with Philo on the extreme. The question is this something to be excited about? Should we be excited?
Well, for starters, we should really be very excited, all right? Because the performing arts industry has been closed for 2 years. Matter of fact, it is the last sector to be reopened after very many other sectors have been opened. And we've seen the key players in this sector make a lot of noise and crying and, pleading and, giving evidence as to why they should be open. So I think it should be opened. But again, getting back to the question, are we really, really ready? I want to really be so very open about this. We have very high expectations, okay? As people who contribute to that sector, but even the key players in the sector, we are all excited. We have very high expectations. But we also need to know that this industry has been closed for 2 years. So definitely there has been a slowdown in business, okay? So to be very, very specific, the bars, the artists, shows have been down. People have not been allowed to perform. We saw them try to start up, shows, online virtual shows. I don't know how far that went because I think it didn't look like something that would be very realistic. Yeah, we saw a couple of artists try to pull out some stunts, but it was not realistic, like I said earlier. So we might get excited, but we also need to know there are very many hardships that are going to come along. It's going to be a gradual process for us to get back to where we were, or probably to progress to a better level as the performing arts industry. So the excitement should be there, yes, absolutely. We've seen very many people prepared. We ourselves are really prepared for that. We've been on a countdown for the whole week, yes. The excitement should be there, but I also feel like that we need to manage our expectations and get real about what we should expect. Okay, now far from expectation, the other challenge is do we have the spirits up there? Like, for example, for people who are content providers in this particular, let's focus again on the arts industry. Like looking at, let's say, musicians, people in theaters, even radio, TV, like, do you think we'll be able to get the best of content since people have been down for the last 2 years? Shall we have something good out of this industry, the fact that they have been down? Mollen.
Well, Felix, I do think that if you're looking at this, there are just going to be two categories of people that we are looking at. There are those who have been through the shock of the business being closed, and those who have just been through the stress of businesses being closed. And I'll tell you, I could be among the category that just had the stress, because like this place is closed, you can't access theater, you can't access cinema, you can't go, for your shows. So it won't be an effect to us who are, you know, the customers to that kind of industry, but more we look at people who have owned businesses with this. Now, I'll tell you, for example, if you look at artists and what they have been doing throughout this time, you know, for 2 years, we've had most of them hit studios and do good music. And I don't think the problem with them will be whether they have content for that. They have been doing music, and we've seen actually more of talents coming up. We've seen you know, young people coming up even to perform much better during lockdown. So even when they had the online concerts and, you know, didn't perform so well, but at least they kept up the spirit and went into a studio to do good music. Now, the challenge comes in when we do have categories of promoters in this country. We have event managers. We have people who are supposed to organize for such concerts to happen. Now, we did see some of the relief that was coming through during lockdown, you know, targeting event managers, the promoters, but this wasn't also much. So I want to believe that most of the hardship is going to be on that side of the organizing these concerts, but the musicians that should be ready, and us who want to go and attend these concerts, we are actually ready. So that's where the challenge is. But you also look at the people that directly benefit from this industry, and in this case I want to bring in looking at the DJs, you're looking at the waiters and waitresses who have been away, and most of them lost their jobs in the due course, because you look at some of the bars that were actually turned into restaurants completely. So this is not going to be a bar again. It has to be a restaurant, and they already have, you know, people working in the restaurant. And then you also look at, you know, some places have been turned into other businesses. So going back to the original business of performing, it's going to be really a stretch for them, and that's how also the hardship will come through. But overall, me, I want to think that these guys have actually gotten to a certain level of being ready, and also that 2 weeks notice helped, because if you move around town, you'll notice some of the bars that have actually started, you know, renovating the area, or also, you know, places that we have been going for concerts also being renovated. So that means that they have had a window to kind of, you know, prepare, although it's not enough, but at least the excitement is there, the willingness to run the business again is there.
Well, of course, having even learned from what Mollen said, and probably also Philo earlier, now it also brings into question the aspect of how about the audiences? You have the people in performing arts, as she said, ready, and of course Philo also added that quite anxious. But how about the recipients? Tell you what, don't you, and I'm very skeptical about how people may not return necessary to nightlife. Yes. Because probably they have learned how to live differently, and I can tell you, if you've noticed that in local communities, people have started to drink around their communities. They have had all these liquor stores almost everywhere. People now meet in compounds, like groups of like 5 people. Yes. There's this whole thing about new apartments. People have like all this kind of thing. Do you think it's going to be easy, and we'll start with you, Philo, for the audience, for the beneficial, for the target audiences to move back into this nightlife easily, probably also, or to tangle with like having missed this whole thing for 2 years?
Okay, so the 2 years really gave a lot of time for the audience to improvise, to find different ways of entertainment. And to be honest, 2 years is quite a long time. Someone is going to actually adjust accordingly, and they will find even the silver lining in these new ways of entertaining themselves. And we've also seen all these bars that have turned into restaurants try to get out of their comfort zone and try to find their space and still try to keep the interest of their target audience. Now, it's really going to be hard. I know very many Ugandans are excited, but one thing for sure is that our consistency in this excitement is very unreliable. We are the kind of people who will actually show you that we want you to open, but when you do, we are going to come through maybe for 1 week or 2 weeks, and we're going to get back into default setting, all right? So it's going to be very hard for the target audiences to get back to where they were consistently. It may happen right now for the excitement sake, and you know, to know that, okay, you know what, we are getting back into the system, yes? But exactly, because everybody is chanting that. Everybody is chanting that. We're getting back to the outside world, we're getting back to where we were. But I want to tell you that the consistency is not something that we're looking at. It may happen for 1 or 2 weeks, and then Ugandans will still get back into their default life. But why do I have to go? Why do I have to leave my space, my home, to get to Kampala when I can actually go to my Kafunda that is just like a few meters away?
Yeah, but
is that how
tell you
you've
what,
been living?
well, life has changed, man. For real. Because guess what?
Yes.
And probably that should bring me to the next question. Like, you see, sometimes you don't know how far you can go until you have been pushed.
Yes.
Exactly. Now, Ugandans didn't know that they could do things in particular way. For example, she did talk about online concerts, and you did notice that a couple of artists and a couple of sponsors did go, like we had, I think, a club something, we had, or we have been having all this Uganda something. Very many shows, very many. And no one had ever thought about having online concerts. But you will be surprised that even if we're going to ease the lockdown, we may find it still valuable to have some of these mannerisms or behaviors being carried on even amid this. But my question then would be, and to you, Mollen, how do we use the lockdown, and mostly as we get out of it, as what are the lessons we pick from these 2 years? And this is generally, you may not necessarily look at only performing arts, but generally as Ugandans, like what is there to pick from 2 years of lockdown as we head into the reopening?
Well, as we talk about this, I want to tell you one thing is for sure. Life is never going to be the same. A lot of things, a lot of things have changed, and now we have had to adapt to the new normal of living, you know, with COVID. So either way, it's not going to be the same like we were before. But I guess you guys are undermining something here. You just don't know how people who like these things are willing to do it. And I don't think they're going to relax even after 1 week. I am telling you, let me give you a simple example. So for example, some of the artists
puts herself away from the people. Just simply say, we the people.
But guess what? Guess what?
You should say, we the people who love these things.
So let me give you a simple example, and I'll still take it to the artists. For example, Rihanna has not come to Uganda, and I am a huge fan of Rihanna's music. So I've been watching her online concerts, you know, throughout time. I see wherever she goes. There is no way she will come to Uganda, and just because I've been used to seeing her there, that I won't make it to her show. I'll definitely be there. It's not the same. Because I love her music and I want to see that live performance from Rihanna. So let me tell you one thing.
Anyway,
if all these artists have, it's a good initiative that we've had the online concerts, we've had, you know, all these, you know, dance parties and on TVs and all that video mix. It's not the same. I will still want to go to this concert. It's going to be the same. You guys are even undermining Ugandans. If the bars are open, people have been drinking without the bars. So the excitement,
no one is undermining Ugandans, just so you know. However,
watch this place. The vibe is not going down. I am telling you, we're going to open up, and then before you know it, people will keep up the vibe, and they will still come for these things. But also, Felix, what you're asking, like we look at, you know, the whole general picture of whether, you know, what we have learned throughout lockdown is that a lot of things, you know, are unexpected. And I think that we've also learned a lot, especially when it comes to multitasking. You look at the fact that people have been, you know, throughout this one zone area. We've seen artists who just didn't know that they can do businesses outside music, but they have ventured into business and they are doing well. So I think there's a takeaway from what has happened before is that people have learned to push themselves. Now, even the event managers, they did have to now pick on other new things and new ventures, and that's the positive thing that we got from, you know, being on lockdown. And I think this was a lesson, like, in general.
Well, of course, Mollen talks about how we have learned to do things differently, probably even much better for some of those things. And Philo, I don't know if there's anything that you feel you want to add.
Well,
to that.
there is the lessons. The lessons, really, I believe that, and this does not, it cuts across all sectors. I think we've all learned to be very flexible. You cannot rely on one thing. Like you said, there is a very big percentage of Ugandans, probably I was part of those Ugandans, where I actually thought I have to follow through a very specific line, okay, before COVID, until COVID came through and everybody realized, you know what?
The line became zigzag.
I need to look at alternatives, yes. I think, so all sectors, you have to be very flexible. What can I do? If plan A fails, what is plan B? If plan B fails, what is plan C? You will actually go as far as plan F, to be very, very flexible, very smart. And I love the fact that Ugandans actually really took that on because,
they have a choice. That's the whole thing. I remember when people used to walk and the president said that there is no transport, only private cars, and then there would only be what we call essential workers. The
essential workers.
And the rest of people either had bicycles
or they would walk. Absolutely. And at some point the prices were really high for the bicycles.
That's when
Did you have Ugandans make new bicycles?
We went to buy a bicycle, I think somewhere in Katwe.
The market kind of
900,000. Initially it was supposed to be like 170, 200. So, and we had to buy, oh my God, Dad, well.
But we also got creative because now we had new bikes, people started making masks, everything. We had new businesses come up.
But of course we are dealing with a problem, and guess what? Any particular person, you need to just position yourself to find solutions for this. But of course, just a few last questions, of course, as we do now go into our break. But COVID has taught us so many things. So many things, and even for us in the media, we have learned to do things differently. And for example, as we were discussing last time, the role of the media, of course, generally into national growth ahead of the reopening, there are things that came out very, very seriously or primarily, things like informative and being at the forefront. And the fourth estate, we have had an opportunity for the last 2 years to take lead in this country. Just a comment from you, and I'll start with you, probably Philo. Do you think the media has done justice throughout these 2 years in terms of what they have reported, what they have given out there? Because guess what? Everyone has been home, and the only thing they had, their screens and their radios, their internet. Like, have we done justice in these 2 years as the media fraternity? Have we given people the right content, the right information? Have we been able to change lives, or we have simply bastardized this opportunity?
Well, we need to give credit where it's due. I think.
Is it due?
Yes. Yes. I think the media has really done its role. You remember, I just want to give you a scenario. You remember the first lockdown, the very intense lockdown that we had. It was really hard, it was really strict.
From
and by the way, I have
of March,
yes,
that is 2020.
I've never seen Ugandans take journalists and basically the media fraternity seriously like that time. And I think they really show that they can prove themselves right and give the information where it's supposed to be given, the kind of information that they were supposed to give. Also, given the prevailing situation, they were giving information that was, because everybody was interested, you wouldn't tell any Ugandan any other information unless it was COVID related. And I think journalists tried to pull out through. But of course, like every other time, there will always be, I usually call them party poopers. There will be people who will just kill it. We've had a couple of people, a couple of journalists come through to give wrong information, wrong statistics, and trying to cause mayhem in the public. Those will always be there. But then that does not take away the fact that there are certain media houses that have actually played their role 100% to deliver information, to give people information that they need to know, how to do what they're supposed to do, how to get the vaccination, where to get the vaccinations from, what they should be doing to make sure we beat this COVID-19. There are people who have done their work. There are journalists who have done their work diligently, and I think we need to credit them for that. And we've really done our job.
Well,
quite a number of
what would you say? One would say. But anyway, clearly, you see what you do in the media simply speaks for itself.
Yes.
It's all out there. And before I even crown it all up, I just want to also ask Mollen, do you think the media in particular has done justice to Ugandans throughout these last 2 years of lockdown?
Well, they have, and I want to say it's a commendable job that the media has done. Yes, these were the only places you could actually get information. Like, we can't let the issue of, being fake news, those are always going to be there in any other sector, but the media has been that one key place that you have to go to get information, and vividly, that is something that has been done to the point that Ugandans or anyone else cannot complain that, there was no news about COVID or even the lockdown. anywhere. This is something that journalists tried to put across. And also you look at the fact that this was the thing there. So you're not reporting about anything else but what is happening with COVID. But also the fact that it was affecting every individual. Also you as the person reporting on this story, it talks to you, it concerns you. So you're just genuinely reporting what is out there. Because at the same time, you're also being affected by the same situation going around. We were no exception. Yeah.
Well, of course, just on the trajectory, maybe just to choose a quick one, in just a second, who do you think was most affected by COVID, the lockdown? Mollen.
When talking about, most of the sectors that were, mostly
in particular,
affected.
what do you think was most affected throughout the lockdown for you?
Well, I think that people who were, having businesses that were closed down were more affected than people who had like government jobs or still kept their jobs, or even the essential workers.
So for it was basically about people in
in businesses that were closed down.
Private businesses.
Yeah.
Well,
I actually want to concur with Mollen. I believe people who are in business, and by the way, business encompasses a lot. Even schools are part of business. They're really, to be honest, they're business-making entities.
Well,
so,
I think churches were equally, I don't know if that falls under business, but
partially. We were having mass online and mobile money. Did you see how we were offering via mobile money?
They were giving us WhatsApp numbers to give our offertory. So
and we did.
Yeah, we did give offertory.
So church
well,
business
of
was
course,
okay.
we also want to know from you guys, what is that sector that you think did get affected mostly throughout the lockdown? Of course, we do try to look at a couple of things as we head into the unlocking. The anticipation is that by next week we'll have our economy fully open. But of course, we want to take some of the messages. One one Raymond came out to say that the performing industry is fully prepared for reopening. It has been so long under lockdown. Now everyone is eagerly waiting for the reopening of the nightlife and full opening of the economy. Raymond there from Uganda, he says, and of course quite a number of messages here, but we'll take that for now. But when we come back, Robert, Ivan and Rachel will be giving us a roundup of the week and what happened throughout the week. But of course, also after Robert and this news weekly roundup, we'll be having a performance from one beautiful Kushe Yvonne. Let's take a break. We'll be back shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. All eyes All eyes are on Cameroon. All eyes are on UBC. Drama, the heart, the suspense, tears, joy and celebrations in the biggest sporting event on the continent. In one place, UBC. Call your public broadcaster today and grow your business with us. 0752 265 827 and 0776 611 540. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Raising voices.
I feel happy when my mother spends time with me. I hope all mothers will like my mother. I want my mother to reach out to all mothers. She knows how important it is to be a good mother. I promise to help my mother inspire other mothers to change.
In this time of COVID, what is your promise to the children of Uganda? Because a violence-free childhood is everyone's right. Raising voices.
All eyes are on Africa. All eyes are on Cameroon. All eyes are on UBC. The drama, the heartbreak, the suspense, tears, joy and celebrations in the biggest sporting event on the continent. In one place, UBC. Call your public broadcaster today and grow your business with us. 0752 265 827 and 0776 611 540. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
On the 9th of December 2021, Pope Francis appointed the Most Reverend Paul Semwogerere as the new Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, replacing the late Dr. Cyprian Kizito Lwanga. Semwogerere, aged 65, takes over the mantle as the 5th Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese. On Tuesday, the 25th of January 2022, all roads will lead to the Sacred Heart Cathedral, Rubaga, for the installation of the Archbishop-elect of Kampala Archdiocese. Under the theme that we grow into the life of Christ, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15, the Holy Mass will be telecast live on UBC TV at 10 a.m.
Start the year off with my Airtel 4G smartphone. You get to enjoy free 1 GB data valid for a month and 100% bonus data every month for 3 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. This includes free data spread over 3 months worth 86,500 Uganda shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 Uganda shillings only. Visit the nearest Airtel shop and get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network.
National Resistance Movement Liberation Day in Uganda is celebrated on the 26th of January each year. The public holiday commemorates the date in 1986 when the NRA overthrew Tito Okello's government. The event will take place under the theme celebrating the 36th NRA Victory Day, a call to duty for all compatriots to contribute towards Uganda's socio-economic transformation journey. Don't miss out on the military parade and the speech from His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni from Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on UBC TV come Wednesday, 26th January 2022.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
buli munya-uganda nayitinga amakulu marungi. UBC West erina amakulu marungi kandi agali kwesigwa. Leero za puroguramu zaayo ziri omulunya kitara hamwe n'olufumbira. UBC West eine tekinologiya ey'omulembe eri kugibaasa kuhika omu bicweka byona omu ihanga nangu n'aheeru y'eihanga. Tukwatire aha frequencies ezo: Kisoro 97.7 Fama, Kabale 93.7 Fama, Hoima 99.1 Fama, Kampala 5.7 Fama, Mbarara 97.4 Fama, Futpoto 98.8 Fama, Masindi 5 Fama. Kurikiriza UBC West ohulire embaganiza. UBC West empika huna.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by.
Their job is to keep you and me healthy and well. But sometimes they try in vain.
How to get points? Just use MTN to make calls, send SMS, load airtime, buy bundles, or pay for MTN subscription services.
Everywhere you go, MTN.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
And of course with relevant information, keeping you training with what is happening, but also a bit of entertainment. And I can reliably inform you that yes, our artist has already arrived and they're with us in studios, ensuring that they'll spice up your weekend. But we also look at stories that have made headlines throughout the week. And this Friday, we want to kick it off with the fuel prices. I don't do this alone. I'm with Ivan Kahwa and Rachel Takali. Many Ugandans experienced the high costs, the challenges come up with fuel. All this began 3 weeks ago when we saw that it's government of Uganda making it mandatory for truck drivers from Malaba and Busia entering the country to carry out a COVID-19 test. By then it was about $30, and this was a tough time for them. That saw the truck drivers protest, making at the end of the day trucks to be held there in long queues, not entering the country, and therefore creating scarcity. And when we look at the factors of demand and supply, if there is so much demand when there is so little in supply, definitely the cost has to go high. Good morning, Ivan.
Good morning, Kirabo.
Did you experience issues to do with fuel? Did you feel the pinch, or it was fairly smooth?
Yeah, you know, once fuel prices increase, then it's automatic that other commodities as well, the prices are hiked. So for those who are going to the markets to try to get other, things, edibles, let me say it like that, they were a little bit expensive. And the thing is still ongoing, because even the prices to go down, it will be a drastic process. It can't just happen in a single day. The circumstances are totally different depending on the fuel stations that are giving out fuel to Ugandans. But hopefully, I think in a few days, it should really stabilize, since government has intervened to work with some petrol stations, Shell and Total, to have a minimum, maximum price of fuel. It shouldn't exceed 5,000. So that's a good thing. And the moment you deal with certain proprietors in the business, it means they will force other people who are competing in the same business to drop their prices. And that's a good move.
Rachel, you always talk about planning, but let me also greet you. A lovely morning to you.
Morning.
You always talk about planning. Was this forcing? Because when we had the Kenyan riots, that was in 2007, after their elections, we had a similar incident. Even around the first wave, I think we did have the similar incident. Wasn't foreseen? Was it aiming at enriching some people at the expense and suffering of other Ugandans? Why then? Because finally, the trucks are entering without these people being tested for COVID-19.
Well, there are many things that are puzzling about the way many of these public affairs are handled. But I think for me, this particular year, I'll be talking about things from twin angles of the fact that Uganda is 60 this year, by the way. It will be 60 in October. And NRM will soon be 36. So I will be talking from those twin angles, whatever issue we'll be visiting. When a person is 36 years of age, there are certain things that are no longer expected of them. You're no longer expected to be living recklessly. You're no longer expected to have excuses. You're no longer expected to be seen, not to understand your environment. And I think it's time that our planners really stepped up to step up their game. These matters keep repeating themselves. we are again in the sorry situation of talking about the reserves are empty. Really? Nothing has improved since 2007? And the consequences, I think, could have been foreseen. Kenyans, unlike Ugandans, are very aggressive concerning what their rights really are. The people who decided upon this move should have anticipated that Kenyan drivers would not take this lying down. They have a history of fighting for their rights. They have a history of forcing the agenda. Unlike Ugandans who take many things lying down and seem to be casual about many of the things that they should be claiming rightfully. So what we are saying at this time is that we are tired of repeating the same cycles. It's as if when these crises pass, people go to sleep until the next crisis. There is no attempt to find a permanent answer. There is no attempt to put matters to rest. There is no attempt to evaluate and monitor. There is no attempt to explain anything. And this way of doing things can never move us forward. This country has to style up. Like I said, we are 60. If you're 60 years of age, there are certain things you cannot justify any longer. Really, there is no excuse for this situation. They just have to do what they need to do and do it quickly. The planners at Energy need to do their part. We have a whole national planning authority. I don't know whether they also plan for the reserve stocks. I don't know whether they only plan for the COVID beds.
Well, even when you talk about our reserves, I was listening to someone, Muita, and he was clear. Said even people who are talking about reserves don't know one thing, that even if we are to use the reserves, fill them, they would only take us for 10 days. So it's not something that Ugandans should hold on so much. But also he said these reserves currently are under Eunoch, and of course there's another company, for some financial gains.
Is Eunoch a government entity or not?
Yes.
So again, Mr. Muita, there is no excuse. If 2007 put us in a crisis, these many years later, we are still as vulnerable as we were in 2007. Shame, shame, shame.
Ivan, one of the issues that also came out very clearly here was the issue of holding. The Prime Minister and some people came out and said the Ugandans are just crafty and take advantage of this situation. And we have laws that guide and govern ways of doing business in this country. The factor of holding, many times when there is scarcity, it is worsened by craft business people that see this as an opportunity.
You see, Uganda being a free market economy, you can do anything that you want. It becomes a real big problem. But I think in certain situations like this, when the country goes into unexpected situations of holding prices, fluctuating them and etc., if government is always strategically positioned to create a situation that can influence those forces of demand and supply, then we can move on. For example, if the reservoirs we are talking about, by the way, we have reservoirs that can store up to 30 million liters of fuel, you know. But the current situation that was happening would not compel government to use the fuel in the reservoirs, simply because these are trucks that are stuck on the border. It's not that the trucks are not there, that we don't have fuel coming into the country. The fuel is there. Over 3,000 vehicles are packed. So that cannot compel. The only thing that needed to be done was to quickly resolve the issue at the border. And that's I think, what was really done.
I agree with you.
So I think now that the other aspect we can commend in managing situations, because, you know, sitting to plan about fuel, it's good. We have the National Planning Authority, and their core role is to plan for this country. But there are certain things that come unexpectedly. There are emergencies. You can plan to go to school, but you have an emergency, and you.
But Ivan, not to differ from you, but I also want to look at this. For this particular incident,
yes.
To me, I want to believe maybe there's an element of poor planning, or an element of someone aiming just to take advantage of a situation. Reason being, this was foreseen. It has ever happened. Not even 2 years have expired since we last saw such a similar incident. You know, in terms of manpower, we once had a broken down scanner. So you know that at this particular time, if you mandate these truck drivers to have mandatory COVID-19 tests, and also because at one time the Council of East African Ministers sat and said, if testing is carried out, let it be free of charge. to these people. Eventually, you've let them go without this test. So don't you think that proper planning or institutions of government working in tandem, that Ministry of Health, yes, you have this, but also URI, you have it. How do we come together for the good of Ugandans to avoid such reoccurrence?
So what I was seeing in that situation, that there was no connection between the two countries, because if you test the truck driver in Kenya, do you have to subject that truck driver again to test when they have entered Uganda? Yet the 3 days are still valid, the ones that were given to them. So I think that is a lacuna. I agree with you, it might have been there. But to me, sometimes when we have a challenge in the country, I may not concentrate so much that there was no planning. But how have we encountered to make the situation, not allow the situation run out of hand? That's what I'm saying. So for 10 days, when we are having the prices very high, and government was not doing anything at that point to reverse that situation, would be something we need to question, that how fast do we encounter situations that get us off guard? Yet we had all the solutions. Now government came up to say that they will take over the costs of, it will be free testing now, they will take over the cost, and that is, you know, that is also another issue. So all in all, I think government really can have an insight into the things that they are more likely to happen. And like she has said, you know, the Kenyans, the way they are, the way they do their things, it's easy for them. I was even shocked. Baparking a motor can kuzanya kapira. You know, there are certain people you know, I was shocked. Bali mumupira tebabiri nako, they have forgotten, you know, prices of fuel. So I think we need to also appreciate the fact that Kenyans and Ugandans are totally different in the business sector. A Ugandan can't do that. They would have paid the money because most of them really want to survive, you know. But for Kenyans, they did it as a blanket thing, as one person, and they effected it, and you see how it has created commotion.
We also saw Ugandans, and this is one of the areas I looked at, who are crossing to Kenya to fuel their cars, fuel their motorcycles, and it was evident that people are leaving Uganda. So sometimes I think this issue of COVID-19, we need to handle it with a clear vision of some of the aspects. Because if you're going to have Ugandans then cross over, and you're testing truck drivers, make it mandatory, it's also something you have to look at. Go downtown, you know, most of the times people have questioned. For me, I would rather ask for a vaccination certificate to ensure that when these people are in this country, as long as we have majority of Ugandans vaccinated, the issue is, even if they contract COVID-19, we won't have this severe illness and complication that will be coming in.
Have you forgotten? Do you remember what the president said, that when you're driving, you have to reach at your point B? There are certain gazetted stopovers. I think when Uganda we have forgotten these things. He has never come out to say that I've stopped it. I want to assume and think that it's still there, that you don't have to leave your vehicle when you're driving long routes to stop in the community. There are certain places where you stop to have your lunch and etc.
And I think also another important thing, I think it's still planning. One of the things that this government doesn't do well is to have a fallback position. Emergencies must have a way to be addressed. In other words, if you plan for a good day, you must also plan for a bad day. You must also plan for an average day. If it doesn't work as it should have, there must be another counter position. But what happens is we are always caught flat-footed. If the position, like you were saying, if these people resisted this fast, whatever it is that you had asked them to do, what was a medium or a midterm or a middle ground? That should also be on the cards. It shouldn't be that you only plan for the worst and the best. There are days that are so-so. So I think the people who actually put these things in motion, whatever they are, policies, requirements, whatever, they should also plan for a fallback position. Because you look very bad when something doesn't work out and then you have no answers. Total quietness, total absence, no one has a way forward. That makes a government look bad.
Well, we just pray and hope that now, with more trucks being cleared to enter the country, these fuel prices will definitely go down. Some of the petrol stations really are doing a commendable job as far as ensuring they reduce the prices now that there's flow of fuel in this country. But also hope that we shall learn lessons from such and ensure that government does all it takes to avert any likelihood of such situations in the near future or even later. Kenya is going into an election. We pray that it's a peaceful one just in about 6 months from now, and we do not have the likelihoods of what happened in 2007. But also some of these things, for me, I don't take them as the detected situations. I think we just have to plan better. But also a story that made headlines this week is the issue of enforcing trade order in Kampala, where we saw vendors, also hawkers, and even those operating in kiosks along the roadsides were facing eviction, and KCCA enforcement team, police and other sister security agencies were at it to ensure they keep the streets free and clean of these vendors. Rachel, one would say this is bad timing. We're just coming from a time of COVID-19, the economy is expected to reopen, there were school fees, and now KCA says we must, because first was a deadline of 10 days, then later extended, that is to more 5 days, and they finally expired. Enforcement was at it. We saw even traders now abandoning their merchandise. But KCA says this is illegal, and there are alternative places for these people to go to, more so markets owned by government, where even the charges are less or minimal for them.
I don't agree that it's a bad time. There is never a good time or a convenient time to do the right thing. Whether you gave these individuals a timeline of 20 years, they would still say at the end of 20 years that this is not a good time. I think we have to make a decision that we have to move forward one way or the other. I have to remind you that they are not asking or taking the livelihood of these people away from them. They're merely saying this is not the way things should be. I spoke before about disorder. I've been working comfortably down there these days. I'm not saying that these people deserved it. I am saying we also want some order. While people want a livelihood, it's just like when people protest. They say you have a right to protest, but the shopkeeper also has a right to keep doing their work. So those of us who want to walk without being obstructed also have a right to walk freely down the streets of Kampala. In this particular case, I cannot fault KCCA. I cannot even fault the government. They've been saying this again and again. We are coming, we are coming. They've been patient, they've been kind, they've been gracious. So in this particular case, I really have no quarrels with the government. I don't.
Ivan, let's look at the issue of resettlement, because it's one of the things that is coming out from the people I was listening to. That is Ashraf Kare something, who happens to be the chairperson of the association that brings together vendors and hawkers in Kampala. And he said the biggest challenge is, where are we moving next? Government has told us there are stores. When we went to Usafi Market, we found there are only 39 that were left, according to him. So where are the rest of the traders going? Even where you're taking us, they argued that some of them, the locations are not that friendly to them. Let's look at an alternative places that government is talking about here, markets.
I even think there is a systematic way of approach if they are to deal with vendors. For example, they have an association, they even have a leader. That's enough for government to know that how many vendors, street vendors, are we dealing with in the first place. So if we have 1,000 operating in CBD, where do we put them? We don't have stalls that reach that number. All the markets are full, by the way, wherever you go. Now, you're dealing with small enterprise entrepreneurs, and that person has capital of 50,000. So how much money will that person pay in a stall, in a market? We need to be considerate. It's not that you're dealing with medium enterprises where there is some kind of big investment of about 500,000 and above. But regardless, I think we need to first agree or assess the reason as to why these people are on the road. Even when we have KCCA, let's not isolate the issue that KCCA has not been in place and they don't know. What happens? You arrest Kawa, you leave Rachel, you arrest Kirabo. That's selective kind of enforcement of the law. Then secondly, these street vendors operate where police booths are. That's where they sell merchandise. Even today during curfew time, you pass where the police booths are. What happens therein? Because you also have to respect the fact that we have promoted the community policing, and the population now has learned to live with Uganda police because they feel that we are one. So sometimes on humanitarian basis, we can have the law on something like that. On humanitarian basis, an officer may decide to say, really, the woman is struggling, she's having a baby. I mean, sometimes you just have to close your eye on humanitarian basis.
But Ivan, we know that there is nobody that is vending on the streets of Kampala that doesn't know this is illegal, because day in, day out, they are in running battles with KCCA.
I cannot assume, when you look at the people who are vending, they are diverse. You might find the one who is literate, who knows that it is illegal. And those who are illegal, by the way, they are the people who take off when things run berserk. He knows that, they will arrest me from here, let me go here. You know, that kind of thing. So regardless, I think what we need to really do is to ensure that we get to know the number of vendors that we are dealing with on the street, because others are two-in-one. He's a vendor today. When you chase him, he becomes a hawker. He carries. So they are two-in-one. Now, are we dealing with hawkers or vendors? And the other biggest contributing factor, we are in Kampala City. The presence of slums in the city, let alone the vendors, by the way. If we are looking at sanity, you have street kids, you have people who do not have where they stay. You have Chisenyi is just in the heart. That is a contributing factor. So even if you get rid of vendors, you won't get rid of those people who move anyhow. Like they don't really have anything to do. You go to Nakawa, all the slums are really entirely big. And I think that is also one aspect we need to appreciate, that it is a contributing factor to everything that we are trying to sort out as government in that regard.
Rachel, one of the issues that has come up in this is the element of security. I was listening to a number of officials for fronting this is insecurity in the city. We've just seen the bomb issues when we saw around Parliament Avenue, CPS, so that there's also an element of insecurity. But then the other issue has also been that people that are paying licenses, that are finding it hard to make ends meet because they are paying rent in shops. These vendors had become a problem. Same goods you're selling in a shop, the vendor just outside on the footsteps of your shop is actually selling the same goods. And this government feels that really they cannot let such things happen in the city. Ivan says we need a macro-sectoral approach, that just looking at a vendor and you don't look at the slums, then you don't look at the high rate. How best can this be addressed? Because you find that even the political leadership of Kampala, we saw the Lord Mayor saying, which law are you using to carry out this? The ordinance is just in the offing. The Deputy Mayor, Doreen Nanjura, comes out and says, we've always asked central government every financial year in the 5 divisions of Kampala, let's have a model market setup where these people can go. So what would be the best way to handle, much as we all crave and desire for a clean city?
I think one of the things that we need to do going forward is that we must move away from what Americans call shoot from the hip approaches, where you're only reacting, you're forever reacting. You never anticipate, you never really think matters through. And that is a major Achilles heel of our government. They never really anticipate the consequences. They never really think about they never truly explore the root causes, like you were saying. There is a reason why people are doing what they are doing. At the same time, the very thing that they are doing is not acceptable. We cannot continue like this. But if our people are caught up in these situations where they feel that the only way to move forward is to keep pressing against the rights of others, it is time for our planners, again, to find out how do we move forward, because we are forever giving excuses. Someone said security. Well, security is a given. But when this phase passes and ADF is out of the picture, will security still be the main reason why we cannot have people on the streets? A city such as Kampala, We already know that it is afflicted by lack of planning. It is a very terrible mess in terms of modern planning. But must we keep adding messes to what is already bad? So at the end of the day, as you said, one of the problems that our people have had, the vendors and the hawkers, for them they have continued in a posture that says, we will be belligerent, we'll resist, we will not listen to anyone, but that is also not helping. Bring your, the government is always challenging the opposition and saying, look, bring some solutions to the table. We're not perfect. What do you have on your side? So we can compare notes. So the hawkers, given the fact that it is not tenable, it is not acceptable to continue where you are, what are your answers? What should we set up markets in Chisenyi, on the edges of Chisenyi? What should we do? We are saying it's a bit like the vaccination situation. It is not tenable for everyone not to be vaccinated, but how do we do it? I think the question is how, not if we should do it.
Okay. How, not if we should do it. So it is something that we must really support to ensure that we have these people off the streets, but also in consideration that these are Ugandans that find only this as their source of maybe living. How best can we give them a safer landing to ensure that they continue? Because this also has an element of criminality in the city if not handled very well. But let's also look at what is trending in the dailies this morning. And I will begin with the New Vision, where the issue of fuel, 900 fuel trucks cleared at the border. So expect more fuel in circulation. The New Vision also brings you, that is Museveni vouchers for UK-Africa deal, and also court summons Bujingo and Makula. That is in the New Vision. Lessons from Uganda, that is development back, and COVID for takeoff. There is so much there for you. Still the New Vision, we see His Excellency meeting diplomats. Do not use the UN to weaken Africa. Do not use the United Nations to weaken Africa. They were seeking for, that is a permanent that is seat on the Security Council there. And still the New Vision, Education Ministry warns on pregnant students. It's not yet over. These girls must attend classes. The ministry echoes on that. And still the New Vision brings you more regarding how to make money through farming. Well, I now shift to the Daily Monitor this morning. Government issues tough rules for building. The Monitor brings you that, but also we look at Museveni demands for permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. We also, it's a Friday scoop. Are we ready for the party? 24th will be reopening the entertainment sector. Then Kakwenzi was tortured, says prisons. And more job opportunities for you in the Daily Monitor as well, so you can get a copy. Now flying into Kenya, the Daily Nation there, BBI's final test, and ICC 6 witness as new details on Yebi role emerge. CBC relief for parents as grade 7 activists reduce, and Ruto Raila trade baba in vote hunt. New drive to shield women from abuse in, that is their marriages. But also these you can get to know more when you get yourself copies. Let me have your final shot, Ivan, regarding stories of the week.
Still on the vendors issue, we also need to consider the aspect of decentralizing services. The fact that we have almost 90% of the services across the country rotating within the Kampala Capital City Authority, this lays a lot of grounds for opportunities and hustling and ensuring that anyone can survive at any cost, even if you don't have money. And I think if we look at that, stretching the big hospitals, the government ministries and agencies from the outskirts of Kampala City, I think it can try to spread out these vendors whom people believe are becoming a problem and contributing to the insecurities, specifically in Central Business District, Kampala.
Rachel, your final shot this morning.
I think we need to remind ourselves, like I said earlier, that Uganda is 60 years old. We can't do things like miners any longer. A case in point is these fires, these unfortunate fires that took the lives of some youngsters. We still don't know for sure why fires remain a problem in our schools. The authorities refuse to give us an update whenever they carry out their investigations. We are still not very clear whether it is crowding, whether it is lack of fire extinguishers, whether it is lack of exits in these dormitories. Things need to be done differently as we turn 60 years of age.
Well, I want to thank you so much, Ivan and Rachel. We've been looking at some of the stories that have made headlines. That is the issue of fuel and, of course, the issue of KCA enforcing order in the city. We just hope and pray that we'll improve on our planning, but also ensure that when we have laws, they are followed and respected to the letter. We'll leave you with, of course, our artists now in studios and more. We are spicing up your weekend. Good morning.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *149*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *149*10*5#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
All eyes are on Africa. All eyes are on Cameroon. All eyes are on UBC. The drama, the heartbreak, the suspense, tears, joy and celebrations in the biggest sporting event on the continent. In one place, UBC. Call your public broadcaster today and grow your business with us. 0752 265 827 and 0776 611 540. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
On the 9th of December 2021, Pope Francis appointed the Most Reverend Paul Semogerere as the new Archbishop of Rwanga. Semogerere, aged 65, takes over the mantle as the 5th Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese. On Tuesday, the 25th of January 2022, all roads will lead to the Sacred Heart Cathedral, Lubaga, for the installation of the Archbishop-elect of Kampala Archdiocese. Under the theme that we grow into the life of Christ, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15, the Holy Mass will be telecast live on UBC TV at 10 a.m.
National Resistance Movement Liberation Day in Uganda is celebrated on the 26th of January each year. The public holiday commemorates the date in 1986 when the NRA overthrew Tito Okello's government. The event will take place under the theme celebrating the 36th NRA Victory Day, a call to duty for all compatriots to contribute towards Uganda's socio-economic transformation journey. Don't miss out on the military parade and the speech from His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni from Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on UBC TV come Wednesday, 26th January 2022.
All eyes are on Africa. All eyes are on Cameroon. All eyes are on UBC. The drama, the heartbreak, the suspense. In the biggest sporting event on the continent, in one place, UBC. Call your public broadcaster today and grow your business with us. 0752 265 827 and 0776 611 540. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 149 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 149 star 10 star 5 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 149 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
National Resistance Movement Liberation Day in Uganda is celebrated on the 26th of January each year. The public holiday commemorates the date in 1986 when the NRA overthrew Tito Okello's government. The event will take place under the theme celebrating the 36th NRA Victory Day, a call to duty for all compatriots to contribute towards Uganda's socio-economic transformation journey. Don't miss out on the military parade and the speech from His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni from Kololo Ceremonial Grounds on UBC TV come Wednesday, 26th January 2022.
The thing goes twink, twink, twink. Woo.
Grab an ice-cold bottle of Pepsi Max today and drink to your bold lifestyle. Enjoy maximum taste with no sugar. Now available at a shop near you. Maximum taste, no sugar.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, thank you for staying with us here on Good Morning Uganda. Now, today being Friday, it's not always very serious, but we also have some entertainment for you. And this very specific edition, Good Morning Uganda Friday special. Now, earlier on, we did promise you we had an amazing artist that will be with us in studio, and she has an amazing performance that she will be giving us, but also we'll be getting into some talk. She will be telling us more about her music journey. I introduce to you Yvonne Couchet, Ugandan Canadian artist, giving us exotic music, just to borrow what Felix said earlier on. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're really excited to have you here.
I'm thrilled. Thank you so much.
I know you're going to give us an amazing performance set, and we'll be getting into that for now, and later on we'll be getting into some amazing talk, and she'll be telling us much more about her music.
May I unveil the cape that gives my life a blazing smile? A day with you alone is like a planet full of stars. Your love to change my world, and yes you do. I simply can't explain, but I will call you oh boy. May I unveil the cape that gives my life a blazing smile? A day with you alone is like a planet full of stars. You love to change my world, and yes you do. I simply can't explain, but I will call you true. I can't hide it anymore. Whoa, you give me shade, and though you paint it color green, I cares for you are my K, my only K. Oh, Kanywani, 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 you're my Kanywani. Oh, Kanywani, 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 and even though tomorrow never comes, you still be mine. I swear you'll still be mine. Oh, oh, even though tomorrow never comes, you still be mine. I swear you'll still be mine. Oh, Kanywani, Kanywani, you're my Kanywani, 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 you're my Kanywani, Kanywani, Kanywani.
Absolutely, really, really amazing. And the song is actually called Kanywani. She'll be telling us the meaning of that song later on. But for starters, I really want to say you have a very beautiful voice, Yvonne. So really, really sensational. I think it brings meaning to the word sensational.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
All right, so I need us to get into the conversation on how you actually got your footing in this music industry. How did you get there? When did you know that, you know what, this is the line I need to be taking right now?
You know, that's such an interesting question, because you never know as an artist when you decided this is what you wanted to do. I would say maybe professionally, I started taking music seriously, I would say 8 years ago. And I believe that's when, actually 10 years is when I released Kanywani, as well as Take You to Africa. Those were my first singles.
Okay.
And you know, I've just been bouncing here and there, doing like covers sometimes, like playing in bands. But I would say, like, seriously taking music as a career choice, would probably be 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you rationalize your music? How would you categorize it?
I actually don't subscribe to genres. I'm an artist who allows myself to be free of boundaries and any genres. I think it's important to have genres, but to categorize music, but I wouldn't say I have a specific genre. I allow myself to try anything and let music take me wherever it wants me to go.
Okay.
So I'm inspired by literally everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I also understand that you've been able to stay in two environments. You've been based in Canada at one point, even in Uganda. So by that fact, would you actually say that these two environments have had an influence on your music?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think anywhere that you set your roots and dig deep into the culture, you'd be inspired by just the music scene there, the art culture. So I marry both worlds. My Ugandan background, obviously, as well as Canada, which is where I live and which is where I grew into myself as an artist. So I like to say that I'm marrying the two worlds. Yeah.
All right. So you are a musician, but you are also a songwriter. So what exactly inspires the music you write? Is it from personal experiences? Is it from what happens around you? What exactly is the inspiration behind this music?
Life. Life inspires me. When I get up in the morning and I'm inspired to write a love song, I'm inspired by the people around me. I'm usually inspired. I would say my life experiences from, you know, heartbreak to just the relationships that I've had. They've had an impact on and an influence on my music.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So like any musician, I understand that you've probably had concerts before, right? Have you had any concerts around here or even in Canada?
So yes, I've performed at festivals. So my most recent one was the Surrey Fusion Festival, which is in British Columbia, where I live. I also did the Christmas Festival in Surrey as well. And then just most recently, I performed at an event called the Meet Guy at the Square.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, I performed with my very good friend Brian here.
All
Brian
right.
and I have been really good friends for the last, I would say, 10 years.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's really, really interesting. And I also know that you have a release of an album, Unchained, that is coming soon. So you tell more about this.
I'm so excited about this album because it's I would say a commemoration of my freedom from the insecurities that I had as an artist and as a human being. Getting into the music industry, I knew for sure like there's always going to be forces against me. And it's not usually like somebody coming up to you and saying, hey, you can't do this. It's actually usually yourself. And I've had so many insecurities. Am I good enough? Can I actually make it? And we go through
all have these insecurities.
Right. And for me, they actually caused a lot of stagnation. So between when I released Take You to Africa, Kanyani, and like my latest, I would say Tungambira, which was my single released in 2019, there was a space of stagnation. And what happened was I was battling internal dialogue of me not being good enough, especially because I'd moved to Canada and everything was different. And it takes about, like, I would say it takes 6 years to settle into a country, 5 to 6 years. And so, yes, when I started creating this album, I wanted to commemorate that freedom, my metamorphosis, releasing myself from all the insecurities that I had, and I believe that this album is a reflection of that.
Okay.
That experience. It's called Unchained.
Unchained.
Yeah.
All right. Now, still about your music and how your audience has received it. I understand you now have two types of audiences. You have the Canadian audience, you have the Ugandan audience. How would you rate have they received your music? Have they been able to comprehend to it? Have they able to listen to it? And what would you have to say about how they received your music?
I believe it's been well received, and for me, how I judge that is my engagement with my audience. You know, it's not so much about the airplay, but how people reach out to me and say, hey, I really love this song that you made. I love this video. I love how you played around with this and in your music this time. Like, I like how you've evolved. And that's how I know that it's been well received.
Okay.
The views is, you know, it's a bonus. It's great.
Yes.
I mean, artists make a lot of money from views and, you know, the likes. But for me, how I judge success is just from my audience and how they interact with my art.
All right. So as we come to the end of this, what are the future plans? Do you have something very huge for us? The album release is already a big thing, but you know how humankind is really insatiable. We want more and more and more. The moment you give us a teaser, trailer, a snippet, we need more from you. Do you have any future big plans for us?
Well, for starters, I'm releasing my album on the 29th of January, which is next Saturday. It's going to be at Onomo Hotel in Nakasero. If you don't know where that is, that's Jonah Kibua Road. I'm going to be performing. My friend Brian, the body of Brian, is going to be performing as well as other incredible artists. And tickets are on sale right now. You can visit my socials, or you could just go search for me on the Quicket app. Early bird tickets end today, so make sure you get your tickets. I know January has been so difficult for many of us, so yeah, take advantage of the early bird tickets, guys. They're $35K, and after that it's going to be $50K. And then I'm hoping that I'll be back to perform at several festivals, including Blankets and Wine, which is one of the biggest festivals here in Kampala, in Uganda. And I'm hoping to get booked for other gigs here, but I do have some planned already in Vancouver, which is where I live. I will be performing at the African Descent Fusion Festival. And that's in the summer, around July.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have so much more in store for you guys.
I'm really very excited on behalf of the Ugandans.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you so much.
I know you have major things for you. Well,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, you heard from Yvonne Couché, amazing, beautiful music, a very sensational voice. I am in love with it. And I'm pretty sure you can totally relate to what I am saying. Well, she's going to give us another performance, and later on we'll be getting into the sports update, and Ruben will be here to give us what is happening in the sports arena, and then we'll be having another performance from Yvonne Couché, so make sure you really don't miss out on that. Also, we do have a weather update that will be coming in from Mollen, so you want to also stay around to make sure you see the weather forecast for today.
Shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da, shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da, shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da. I wanna take you to Africa. You've seen enough of your America. I wanna take you down to Africa. You've had enough of this America. Shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da, shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da, shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da. I don't mean to brag, baby, but this land is pure. This land is free. This land is for you and me. You and me, baby. I am gonna take you down to the marketplace so you can buy a chitenje, gutwara muka chiruhura, hora masye, mama na da. Shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da, shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da. I said shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da. I wanna take you to Africa. You've seen enough of your America. I wanna take you down to Africa. You've had enough of this America. Let me take you down to Africa. Africa. Let me take you down to Africa. Africa. Let me take you down to Africa. I said shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da, shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da, shoot doo doo doo, shoot doo doo da. I wanna take you to Africa. You've seen enough of your America.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
On the 9th of December 2021, Pope Francis appointed the Most Reverend Paul Semwogerere as the new Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese, replacing the late Dr. Cyprian Kizito Lwanga. Semwogerere, aged 65, takes over the mantle as the 5th Archbishop of Kampala Archdiocese. On Tuesday, the 25th of January 2022, all roads will lead to the Sacred Heart Cathedral, Rubaga, for the installation of the Archbishop-elect of Kampala Archdiocese. Under the theme that we grow into the life of Christ, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15. The Holy Mass will be telecast live on UBC TV at 10 a.m.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, special Friday indeed, and welcome back from that wonderful music. It is what we do here every Friday. We give you just a feel of how Fridays should look like, actually. According to us, that starts with the music, and that's what exactly we give you. So I hope you're enjoying the vibe. But on in another note, when you're heading for the weekends, you also want, to relax from work and all, and catch a few movies for those of you who love movies. Now, I have one recommendation for you, and this is the movie Do Not Look Up. Now, this is a scientific movie, and it's basically about how humanity is ignoring science. Now, this stars Leonardo DiCaprio. A lot of you know him from the famous Love Story. But guess what? He's now the ambassador of peace with the UN, and he has been doing a lot of campaign when it comes to climate change. And of course, he teamed up with Jennifer Lawrence and a lot of more incredible actors. This is the movie that you want to watch. Now, it started streaming on Netflix, and I can tell you there's a lot in that movie that you can't afford to miss. You look at the fact that, the science is going at it. The world is going through this kind of life where they used to normal. They are ignoring the science, but then there is this comet that is headed for Earth and about to strike Earth. Now, what happens is Leonardo and Jennifer Lawrence, of course, now they, as astronomers, they try to warn the world about what is likely to happen, go up to the president and be like, this is what is going to hit Earth. But guess what? The reaction is just like, these are normal scientists. What they're telling us can easily be, ignored. And guess what? It gets to the worst case scenario. This is the kind of movie you should be stocking up for your weekend. And also, compare with what we have in reality. But I really found it really, really interesting, and it's a good movie. You look at, all the scientific evidence that does come up, and the huge talk about humanity, and of course, the generations that we are going through right now. Much of even the memes that were coming through, you reach an extent of where you have to pray. You're praying for your life, but it's too late. And the information that you're actually ignoring that could have saved you is no longer, the part that will save you, but now you have to resort to prayer. So these are the memes that were going around on social media after the movie did come out. But I can tell you, this is one that you should look out for, and you should have it already on your list. But away from the movies and what we're looking at in terms of science, let's go into a satellite and tap into how the weather is looking like over the country right now. We're starting off with what we're seeing, and that is a cloudy system across Lake Victoria. Now, that system did bring us a few rains, but that was mostly just over the islands of Lake Victoria. Now, on the shores and all the areas close to Lake Victoria, it seems like we just started off with quite cloudy conditions and just a mix of sunshine as well. So nothing much so far in terms of rainy conditions across that area. But I also look at, we've had a reduction, and just this morning someone was telling me, how are we moving from a 24 to a 26 degrees Celsius? Well, this is weather. And when you see some of the excitement that comes with the rain and the cold,
it's just going to be short-lived in such a dry season. Say yes, we still have that dry season that is still going on up to March. So don't be excited when the rains do come in. We're still moving back into the sun, and right now, even when you look at Kampala right here, we do have mostly sunny conditions coming through with cloudy conditions, but we also have this system that is headed our way. Now, much of that will be bringing in a little bit of cloudy conditions, maybe rains later, but also that will also be just over a few places. Now, there is also that blue one that is coming through for the eastern parts of Lake Victoria, and that takes in Tororo, that takes in parts of Jinja, all the way towards Kamuli, but that area is just also bringing just cloudy conditions, a little bit of rains just across areas close to Lake Victoria, but also that is not enough, you know, to cover much of the, you know, warm coming up for right now. Now take a look at northern Uganda here, Karamoja region, also for eastern part of the country, just clear skies. When you see those gray colors, that's just indicating clear skies and mostly a sunny morning over that area. We do have a little bit of clouds that are moving across, you know, all the way from Lake Choga towards the northwestern parts of the country, but that is also not bringing in any rains, just cloudy conditions coming through. Take a look at southwestern Uganda as well as Kabale Highlands, also starting off with quite some sunny skies, and that means that also the temperatures are trying to move a little bit up for that area compared to what we've been dealing with for the last couple of days. And I can tell you one thing for sure, also looking at some of these systems, they're just starting to fade away, and we could be looking at more dry conditions as we head into the weekend. Although we'll have a little bit of rain still across most areas within the southern parts of the country, but those will also be just a few rains and not sustainable for any, you know, good activity to carry out during rainy conditions. But otherwise, much of the country, especially to the north and eastern Uganda, will remain equally dry as we heading into the weekend. But for this morning, it looks like we're starting off with quite some pleasant morning. No much rains to interrupt into your day. Just, you know, we're warming up. We're getting to good degrees at least for today. We'll be having a few rains later in the afternoon, but I can say for this morning we cannot complain. Now we'll go ahead and look into the forecast that we have today, and that is coming in from the Uganda National Meteorological Authority, and take a look at the kind of weather that they're also forecasting for different areas within the country. We'll start it off with parts of the western part of Lake Victoria. That is where we have Masaka, Kalisizo, Sembabule, Rakai. We are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, and starting off with a warm 27 degrees centigrade. Now looking at that area, most likely we'll be having rainy conditions later in the afternoon, but that means that also temperatures might remain around the higher 20s. That is for the western part of Lake Victoria, and also that area has had mostly you know, dry conditions for a while, except for the last couple of days where we did have a little bit of rains. Now southwestern Uganda, where we have Mbarara, Ibanda, Bushenyi, Ririzi, we're also starting off with a mix of clouds and sunshine with a pleasant 26 degrees centigrade. We do expect those conditions to continue into the afternoon. So yes, you can expect that sun, and temperatures will only be going up for today. Now look at Mount Elgon Highlands. That is where we have Mbale, Bududa, Buko and Sironko. We are forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine as well. Starting off with a 26, looks like there are no hope of rains over that area even for the entire day. So even in the afternoon we might be looking at similar conditions. Now the eastern part of Lake Victoria, we do have those clouds already moving in, but we are expecting a mix of sunshine as well. Starting off with a warm 27 degrees centigrade, and also later in the afternoon we might be dealing with similar sunny intervals. Now look at eastern Uganda, where we already have that sun coming through. Now that will be with intervals of cloudy conditions, starting off with a very hot 28 degrees centigrade, and I can tell you that area is likely to hit the 30s as the day continues, because we will be looking at more of those sunny intervals even later in the afternoon. Now the eastern part of central, where we have Ruwero, Woblenzi, Buduli, Nakaseke, we're forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, starting off with a warm 27 as well, and most likely we might have a little bit of rains later in the afternoon, but also that will be just over a few areas within that forecast region. For the central parts of northern Uganda, where we have Gulukit, Gumpadel and Adjumani, we're forecasting a mix of clouds and sunshine, and that will be at a hot 28 degrees centigrade. I can tell you also that is headed for 30s, and also later in the afternoon we might be dealing with most of those sunny intervals. Now coming back here, the central parts of Lake Victoria, that is where we have Mukono, Kampala, Entebbe and Wakiso. We're forecasting also a mix of clouds and sunshine. We're starting off with a beautiful 26 degrees centigrade. We can't complain. We've been quite cold over that area. Now I think we should appreciate the fact that we are starting to warm up with 26, but also later in the day we could be looking at more of those temperatures going up. So it's going to get to a time where actually you no longer want the sun, or you no longer want the warmth, because it's just going up and up and might get uncomfortable. So yes, it's time to loosen up on those warm clothing that you've been carrying around. Just loosen them up a little and look into light clothing. And also as we headed into the weekend, that's something that you can look out for. Well, I'll be leaving you at that in terms of weather, and obviously I want to wish you a wonderful weekend, but also we still continue with the music right here, and we'll be giving you that more in the updates. We also have sports highlights that you should be looking out for, and don't forget we're headed for the round of 16, so AFCON still on UBC. That's the one thing you should really look out for if you're talking sports. UBC is your channel. I want to wish you a wonderful morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala.
Hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *149*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
All eyes are on Africa. All eyes are on Cameroon. All eyes are on UBC. The drama, the heartbreak, the suspense, tears, joy and celebrations in the biggest sporting event on the continent. In one place, UBC. Call your public broadcaster today and grow your business with us. 0752 265 827 and 0776 611 540. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
So it's a pleasure to have you on the show. My name is Ruben once again, away from the band and of course the musicians. It's time for sports. Yesterday we had AFCON that was played. We had 4 games that winded up the group's stages. We had Cote d'Ivoire beating Algeria by 3-1. A good goal from Pepe. What a goal from Pepe, the Ivorian there. And then we had Sierra Leone lose to Equatorial Guinea by 1-0 as well. That means Algeria and Sierra Leone pack their bags back home, and Equatorial Guinea and Cote d'Ivoire advanced to the round of 16. Gambia beat Tunisia in a dramatic way. I love the way Gambia beat Tunisia. I was actually doing that game with colleagues here, Timothy and Michael, and I was so impressed by the way Gambia played. Then we had Mali beat Mauritania by 2-0. Now the round of 16 starts on Sunday. Burkina Faso will take on Gabon. We'll have Nigeria against Tunisia. That will be on Sunday. Then on Monday, we shall have Guinea against Gambia. Cameroon will take on Comoros. And then on Tuesday, Senegal will take on Cape Verde. Morocco will take on Malawi. On Wednesday, for me, the big one of this tie is Cote d'Ivoire against Egypt. That will be at 7. And then Mali will take on Equatorial Guinea. That will be at 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Away from that, let's go over to England, where we shall have a couple of games. That's a Premiership. So many games will be played in England. We'll have Aston Villa against Everton. That will be the early kickoff at 3:30. Then, of course, we'll have Brentford taking on Wolves at 6. Leeds will take on Newcastle United. That will be at 6 as well. Man U will take on West Ham at 6 p.m. as well. Then Southampton will take on City. That will be at 8:30. Then on Sunday, Arsenal will take on Burnley. Palace against Liverpool. Leicester will take on Brighton. And Chelsea will take on Spurs. That will be in the London Derby. Yes, that is in the English Premier League. Of course, the Serie A also has a couple of games that will be played. Genoa will take on Udinese. We'll have Inter against Venezia. Atalanta will take on Lazio. Then the French League One as well. We shall have Brest against Lille. Lens will take on Marseille. And the Bundesliga, also a couple of games there. Leverkusen, Augsburg, Gladbach, Union Berlin, Freiburg, Stuttgart, Hoffenheim, Dortmund, and Bochum will take on Cologne. I now hand over to the band or to the musicians that are really ready to take you through. But of course, but don't forget that John Barnes will be here at 1:30 to take you through the score, as well as have a couple of games. The Uganda Cup resumes today. Then tomorrow, we'll have the under-20 women team taking on Ghana. All that will be coming up on UBC Live. That is from the sports desk. I hand over to Philo, who is waiting somewhere to tell you what he's going to serve up to the hour of 9. Over to you, Philo.
Thank you very much, Felix, for that. Thank you very much, Ruben, for that sports update. Well, we are still going on with Good Morning Uganda Friday special, and I do still have Yvonne Couchet with me in the house, and she's still giving us some very beautiful gems. We were very lucky enough in the last couple of minutes. We did listen to some of the amazing work that she has done, and she's still giving us some wonderful performances. What are you going to be giving us right now?
So I'm going to be performing my latest single, which is off my album Unchained.
Okay.
The name of the song is Kulikayo.
Kulikayo.
Yes.
It sounds like there is a story behind it.
Yes, I mean, it's Kulikayo for me. Welcome back to music, because I've been away for a while.
All right.
But you can interpret this song the way you see fit.
Depending on how it actually works for you, so it could be, it could be for you as well.
Or your hubby,
all right. Maybe it's a song you could be singing for your people when they get back home, probably from a long journey or whatever, as long as you can relate to it. Well, here we go with Kulikayo from Yvonne Couchet.
It's been a long day. You're not a fan of Mondays, so we count down to Friday. Between and Pola, no rush. Jogging and Pola, so hush. Let me be the one, I'll be the one to say, when you come home, I'll be by the door to say, Kulikayo, Kulikayo, baby, Kulikayo, Kulikayo, baby, yeah. Don't rush, just hush, honey, Kulikayo. I'm having a hard day. You touch me and I'm okay. We talk about it and then we pray about it. Oh man, you feel like home. see you, I say to myself, yeah, when I see you, I say to myself, oh, you're finally home. Oh, welcome home, Kulikayo. Kulikayo, baby. Kulikayo. Kulikayo, baby, yeah. Don't rush, just hush, honey, kulikayo. Kulikayo, baby, yeah. Kulikayo. Thank you.
Well, that's it. Kulikayo coming in from Yvonne Kushe.
Good day.
Where have you been this whole time?
I know. I've been enjoying your music.
Well, Kulikayo from
Absolutely. That was quite beautiful.
Do you not agree with me that she has a very beautiful voice?
I can tell about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was really nice. So just a quick one, probably before as we get to end. Maybe how can people get your music?
Well, my music is available on all streaming platforms. So if you have Spotify, if you have YouTube, if you have Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, you name it, it's available. I'm right now launching my album, so I'm trying to push as much as possible to have more streams so that I can make some money.
The album has how many songs? Like, what's the album title?
The album is called Unchained. Yeah, it's like I said, it's a commemoration of my freedom from my insecurities, and I'm so thrilled to bring this music to your audience and to anyone that's watching me. Yeah, insecurities.
Felix, everybody has insecurities.
No,
you don't have insecurities.
Do I have
what kind of person are you?
I'll need to
teach us to be like you.
I tell you, man.
He's lying.
I want to be like you.
I know, man. I know. But of course, it's really nice having you, Kushe. And how do they say it? We look into big things this year. The economy is going to be open. I heard you guys talk about it with Philo earlier, and the expectations are high. We're going to see you on some billboards very soon. We hope so.
Okay, yes. What he said, Jesus. What he said.
I tell you. Yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
and of
so
course,
much.
the guitarist.
Yes, my friend, the body of Brian.
Amazing job.
That is
the body of Brian. He's an amazing, amazing artist.
Absolutely. So, what's the name of the hairstyle? Okay, dreadlocks. Yeah, some of us can't have them because of nature. But we admire. But anyway, of course, we want to say thank you to our viewers. Philo, they've been with us this morning.
Oh yes,
and
absolutely.
clearly, there are lots of feedbacks coming in, lots of messages from all our social media platforms, and of course, people have been viewing on, of course, YouTube and on all other online platforms. And they say Kushe is lit. That's no doubt.
By the way, my parents are watching this. So my parents in Chinhuda District. Retired Captain Zeb Muramzi and Nora Muramzi, thank you so much for supporting my music career.
Absolutely.
You know, they first wanted me to be a lawyer. Now they agreed. They're like, you just be a singer.
Wow.
If you have parents who actually see that and they see there is a lot of progress and there is light at the end of the tunnel and they appreciate it and support you, then, I mean, what better can you want?
Keep supporting your children's dreams. I tell you, it works out. Unless you see the kids are going astray. Please, I know that it's like people fight with it in Africa, and it's very hard to convince our parents that we can do the things we love to do. But anyway, want to say thank you so much, guys, for watching. Of course, being glued to UBC. Good morning, Uganda. Now, Monday will be another change of the game, and we hope again that things get better. for us. We ask you guys to get vaccinated as much as possible for the safety of everyone around us. Of course, we also want to, as the economy reopens, there are many fears.
Yeah.
So keep alert, stay focused, take care of yourselves, abide by the SOPs, and most importantly, stay alive. And of course, keep listening to Kushia Yvonne's music. I must say. Goodbye. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. And of course, for me and the team, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Again.